guys, I'm just going to do it in the bag for you today, just to show you what I throw and why, and how it flies as well. So first off, I just want to say thanks for all the support. Last year was a really good season for me, finishing first for tour points. So thanks to everyone that showed support and love throughout that season. I really appreciate it. It doesn't go unnoticed, so yeah, thanks guys. Thanks to RPM as well. Obviously I'm going to run you through all my RPM discs as well though. So there was all RPM used last year to secure the win, and that same bag pretty much is going to come through into this season as well. So I just want to start with a few things. Generally we'll go putters to drivers, but you know, usually a lot of people have things on their bag and for certain reasons and whatnot. I just want to run through this one thing here called the little wing, and it's used as a warm-up tool. You can hold on to it like this, and there's a draw cord that you can pinch your towel onto, and you can do your warm-ups, get your swing in range, and you know, get feeling good before you're teeing off, just for whatever. A good friend of ours, Isaac Bennett, does these. We're eventually going to start putting a little bit of artwork on them and stamping them, so you can check that out fairly soon. You can hit Isaac up right now actually for your own little wing if you'd like. He uses them out of our RPM discs, mostly seconds, so discs we don't have that we can't use for any reason go into these little wings, so you know, the plastic's recycled and used for another purpose, so it's not just wasted. So that's a cool thing. I personally don't use it for warm-ups, but I like to support the bro and have it hanging off my bag, and there's some nice meaning behind it as well. So that's the little wing, goes with me everywhere. I'll start with my putters. I putt with hard magma tuis. I used to putt with AVRs for years, and after a 2018 Worlds, I gave myself a lot of good opportunities there, but I didn't putt too well. I putted overconfidently and put a lot of things high. So when I come home, I thought, well, it doesn't matter what you use, you just have to put it in. Any disc can hit the line. You just got to, then and there, you got to deliver and put the putt in the chains. So I thought to myself, well, I'm going to switch. I'm going to support RPM 100%, and I'm going to start using tuis. So our two options are tuis and rurus for putters. So for me, I preferred the tui, and it has the hard magmas are a nice hard firm plastic, which I prefer. So I carry 3, obviously, you know, 3 for warm-ups. The white one's my main one. This is my number 1 putter, and recently as I practice I've noticed I hold another disc in my hand, so I've translated that into my tournament play, so I hold another disc now while I'm doing my thing. So that's the hard magma tuis. I never throw these. They're a little bit flippy to throw, which is great if you don't have a forehand or want something to go out and go right. But for me, these are just putting putters, and they do the job quite well. You know, if there's a bit of too much of a crazy headwind, if we're out somewhere like, you know, the Great Waitawa, the Beast of the East, or somewhere that's just exposed, you know, McLaren, something, yeah, I'll just adjust the hyzer amount out of my hand, and it's fine. It does the job for me. So that's my putting putters. While we're on the tuis, I carry 2 atomic tuis. This one I've had for 5 seasons now, 5 seasons in a row, and this is a favourite of mine. I'd be lost without this. I can do all sorts with it. You know, I can release it flat and hard and have it turn right. You know, you can do the straightest shots with these tuis. So this is technically my flippier one, and this will go you know, this will go out, flip over, stay over, and just pan out. Or more than likely I throw it with a hyzer release and have it flip up to flat, and it just carries for a long time with a gentle turn at the start, right turn at the end, and that's when it's released on this angle. So, you know, and that's, you know, I'm not going to smash it into a headwind. Most putters would turn over smashed into a headwind and release flat, but just knowing your angles and giving it some hyzer, you can get something like a tui to do amazing things. Like I'm throwing this up to, you know, anywhere, this you know, you can get to 100 meters with this thing. So that's the flippier one that goes more right. I've got my black ink discs, stamped atomic tui, and this is the more stable brother to this guy here. Exact same thing again. If it's a bit more windy, I'll throw this. You can just get it to hook up more, you know, gentle hyzers. Hyzer flip to flat, that just has a gentle finish at the end. This is what I'll reach for. The two discs that I just couldn't be without. I've got my Teo discs coated in Cambria dye job here. This is a Ruru. I only carry one Ruru at the moment for driving and approaching and whatnot. When it's a bit too windy for my tuis, I'll throw this. This is fairly stable, great off the tee for driving, approaching, and anything you may need for short range stuff. You know, up to 90 meters and back. This does the job fine. Move on to my absolute workhorses, which are the Kias. So I have two first run Kias here that are pretty much identical. One's a little tiny bit straighter than the other that I get some good distance off. I throw these, I don't know, depending on the course, but 70% of the time I'm throwing these Kias. So I have these two atomics that Kias just do Kia things, you know. They go out and they hook left. As time's gone on and they've worn in, I'm pushing up to 100 meters with these things for different shots, different reasons why I throw them. You know, any conditions, these are reliable, and reliability is key. So these are the two that I use the most in any round, really. You know, you can flex them out, have them come back, and they'll always hook up, so that's a good thing. So that's the two that I use, you know, off the tees, approaches. I wouldn't go anywhere without these. Probably would pick this if I could just have a one disc round. I'd probably go with a Kia. Then this is the hard magma plastic again, super stiff. I only forehand this disc. So this one I don't like the softer stuff for forehands. I feel like I can't quite control my angles, so I prefer the hard magma for these. And they actually, it's really nice in the rain as well when it's super wet, or when we're playing in some crazy conditions and it's too much for the tui. I'll revert to this hard magma Kia. Aggressive spin putt for this one. It'll hold the line. It's like there was never any wind to start with. So it's you know, although I only forehand it, it's versatile in the rain and for headwind putts. Hooks up hard at the end too, so it's really reliable. Moving on to my P Waka Wakas. I've been throwing the P-Woks a lot more lately. I used to throw all my tuis all the time, but now now I've really learnt the Peacock, and it's a little bit quicker than the Tui. I'm just a complete Peacock fan now. Like I'm throwing these on holes I've never thrown them on now, because I've spent some time and got to really know them. So anything released on a hyzer, flipping up to flat, sort of the same situation as my two Tuis I had here, except for, so this one would be my flippier Peacock. This is from the previous run last year, which came out quite nicely stable. So I'm throwing this guy to go out, turn right and stay right and just pan out, or nice tunnel shots where I'll just pop it up to hyzer, from hyzer to flat, and have it just drift right depending on the shot that's required. And this one I've just bagged like pretty much the start of the season. So this would be the newest disc in my bag. I don't know if you can see it through the sun, but it's just beautiful. It's probably it is my favourite disc right now, and I've even given it a name. It's called my Lucy now. So I've never named my disc before, but this is the one for me. It's stable for a Peacock, which is great. I'm throwing this on gentle hyzers. Now as time's gone on, I've got to know my angles a lot better, so I can get a lot more out of a so-called flippy disc, which this disc isn't flippy. So I'm going to leave it blank because it's just so beautiful. Don't know if the camera can pick up the swirls that's going on when you hold it up to the sun, but it's just amazing. So this one, like I say, like the same job as the white one, but this one I'll flip up to flat and it'll just stay flat, and it'll just hold that line and just keep going, pushing forward. This is, for me, it's pumping out to 100 meters, just over. So it's just, as time's gone on, I've learnt this disc and the Peacock mold in general, and just love to have it in my bag. I only used to carry one for certain reasons, and now I've got two. This is just something I don't want to go without. So that's my mid-range putt and approach sort of section. Moving on to my Huias. Same situation again. I'd recommend, if you can, just get molds you like and go from there. So you have that same feel in your hand. Different stages of its life, they wear in differently. So this, like, you'll probably notice I've got pairs of 2 or 3 of each disc in my bag. So this is a first run Huia, atomic plastic. This is my flippy one that I can yank on flat and have it turn right and stay right. Couple of tournament aces with this, so it does the job. So this disc will hang around for a long time unless I happen to lose it one time. So that's my flippier Huia. Great disc, control driver, just does the job for a lot of stuff. And this is my more stable version. Just a bit more fade at the end, can crank it into a headwind a little bit more than the other Huia. So there's two great fairway drivers there that just do the job for me. They complement each other well. And the other section of my fairways is the Kiwi, the stable version, known as the Kiwi S. Super flat top, really stable for what Kiwis are actually known as. So this disc it just does everything you'd need. Like if I'm getting out of the rough, I'll forehand hyzer flip up to flat and have it carry. I get it down for rollers. You can really pump out some really long rollers with this. So it lands on the roller angle. I can actually have it finish straight. It doesn't really want to veer out too much to the right. So this is, like I said, when I say everything, it's rollers as well. hyzer flip forehands, hyzer flip backhands, something longer than the Peacock that I can just crank on and have get to flat and shift a little and always hook up reliably. So that's the Kiwi S. I've left it blank because I just love this silver metal sort of look here. So I've just one of these. I don't throw it a lot, but when I need it, it does the job. So moving on to my distance drivers, I've got two atomic Kahu XGs. The XG stands for extra glide. It's the same mold, but it comes out with a pop top. I don't know if you can see the pop there, but this, once again, same pattern as in my bag. One's flippier, one's more stable. So out of my 4 XGs that I bag currently, these are the 2 most stable ones. They're just absolute, we call them meter eaters because they just go for miles. So it's nice. I'm incorporating my forehand into these as well now as I learn to control my angles better with forehands and stuff like that, and get some better distance out of a forehand and something a bit more reliable that I don't have to crank on something overstable and rely on a forehand that way. So these are my 2 atomic ones that are just, I'm just throwing these more and more and more each time in any conditions. So that's those 2, and then my first run Kahu XGs, which probably have a little bit more of a pop top. I don't know if you can see it, but these are my furthest flying disc that I have in my bag. One's super flippy that I can really work up and over and have turn right and stay right. Really nice if I'm throwing uphill and need that extra juice where you have to do a standstill stance. You can just release this on hyzer, have it pop up. Can just tap it on a downhill shot and just know that it's just going to go for ages. It's a really, really nice disc. And this is the more stable version of those 2. Probably off the tee for shots over 100 meters, this is probably what I'm reaching for the most. Between this and my yellow ones, depending on the wind, of course, it's all wind dependent then and there, but these 4 Kahu XGs have just become distance absolute monsters for me. They're just, just controlling that angle, releasing on a hyzer, getting up to flat. One pops over and carries more. This would be the next one, which pushes forward the most. And then these are the next 2 in stability. So for me, that's the quad for my my Kahu XGs and as far as stability. Moving on to a standard Kahu, these are a bit flatter and a bit more stable than the XG version. I've had this disc in my bag for about 2.5 seasons now, and it's still stable. It'll hook up slightly, it'll turn slightly and then dump hard at the end. I'm not going to go smash it into a headwind because anything released hard and quickly will turn in a headwind. But that's where the next mold comes into play. So this sits in between what I'll talk about next is the Kortari and the Kahu, the standard Kahu, which is, I'm throwing less and less these days now that I have these more slightly stable XGs in my bag. But there's a time and a place for this disc for me, and it'll, when I know it's time, that's when I'll throw it. When it's just a bit too breezy for the XG version, I'll reach for this guy. Max weight, stable, quick disc, speed 13, goes a long way. Check one out if you haven't got one. And the last two discs in my bag are our latest mould, which is the Cortati. I've got one here with Ruru stamp on it that it always gets people on the tee. They ask what the hell I just threw. But that's my 174 gram, and I have the first run as well, a 171 gram. These are just absolute, well, they're not full on meat hooks. We released the prototype and it had a lot more pop on the dome, and it wasn't so much the dome that caused them to be super overstable, it was more so the way that specific first prototype run came out, where the seam sat on the rim here. So it's great. It taught us a lot about stability and stuff, and how we're gonna, how to go forward from there. These I use for forehands that I need to axe out like that and have come hook up hard and skip. This one's a little straighter than this blue one, so this one I can crank out like I love to do sky annies with these and release them like this and just fully launch into them and have them just turn over and fight out and then push forward. So this one goes a little further but has a little less glide because it's flatter. So this one I use off the tee a lot, more so for those straighter, overstable shots that I need when it's too much for my keys. This is what I'll throw. This Atomic Kotati. We're really stoked with these because we needed something a bit more stable than a Kahu in our lineup. So this come out great, and we're stoked. So that's the Kotati, and then of course talked about my Ruru stamped Cortati, which is a bit more beaten in than that one, but the stability's holding up for a little longer. So that's my bag for this season. Depending on the courses and stuff, you bring in other tuis or other peawoks or something, just to suit the course that you're playing, that the shots that you need to throw in front of you. So yeah, so this is pretty much my bag for the 2020 season. Can expect a couple of new molds out of this coming soon, so that's exciting. Yeah, thanks for checking it out, guys, and thanks for the support. Appreciate it. So thanks. Cheers.